What's up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Push Through. JJ and I just pushing our way through life, trying to figure this shit out, mental clarity, all that fun stuff. Fitness. JJ's entering the world of marathon running, and I'm trying to actually get an official finish time for ultra marathons. We'll see. Today we're going to talk. JJ's been getting a ton of questions about marathon training and training plans, and it's kind of been fortunate enough to, or I've been lucky enough that he's been telling people it's been me, but I definitely wanted to talk because we get a lot of questions on how do you train for stuff. And I, I just want to start by saying my coaching quote career started in triathlon. That's kind of when I was doing Ironmans, I learned how to coach, and I took all my certifications to coach in triathlon, in Ironman. And that's just kind of like worked my way into running, and then started like coaching close friends and family and just helping people out, this and the other thing. And now it's starting to grow, which is really, really good. And I love it. It's like using like human test dummies, and it's like watching all the things that you read. It's fun when you read about stuff and it comes across and you do it and you're like, oh my gosh, I see it. But it's even better when you use certain foundations or techniques or training practices on other people, and then they see growth and you're like, oh man, I mean, essentially what a coach is doing is it's really like, it's kind of like on YouTube where like you buy a course because you don't want to do all the research yourself and figure it out yourself and get all these different opinions and areas. Like you buy a coach for a certain couple of reasons, and I'll talk about that. But first, what's up, Jay? How the hell have you been?
Good. I actually just finished a leg workout, so I'm a little nasty looking, but
Wobbly?
yeah, feeling
Got your
feeling all right.
got your big dividend energy shirt on.
That's right, baby.
Love that shirt. So comfortable.
It is a good one, isn't it?
I hate when people send me those 100% cotton t-shirts.
Oh yeah, those
Like,
suck.
come on, those assholes.
Yeah, these are this brand is like anytime I see a shirt or like I know somebody like a brand sends me something and I think this is called like Next Level. I'd have to look at the brand. But yeah, they're super super good quality, and it's like that tight fit. What do they call it? I forget what the fit's called, but yeah, it's not a bad shirt. But no, dude, I'm doing all right. I'm kicking marathon preps ass so far. It's week 3, day 1 completed. I'm feeling good. I'm not feeling like super drained or anything. I know it's gonna get tougher. You've kind of warned me about that, but you also said that these first few weeks are going to kind of be like the first few weeks of CrossFit, which is something I'm familiar with. And when you first get in, you kind of want to get your feet wet. You want to be wanting more, and I can feel myself there. I'm like, but I'm also on the struggle bus a little bit. I'm not going to lie with the whole heart rate thing. Luckily, there's 2 things that are really helping me with that. And for those of you that are listening that don't know what I'm talking about, zone 2 heart rate, basically I'm trying to lower my heart rate to be able to run longer distances without my heart rate spiking as much as it does currently. I'm trying to keep it in a certain zone around 148 beats per minute and under. So the struggle I'm having with that is that takes a long time to build up that muscle in your heart to be able to do that. But luckily there's 2 things that are helping me stay patient. One is I come from the money world, and you got to have patience in investing. And so like that's helping me. I'm relating that to like we've talked about earlier, starting a portfolio, investing, slow growth, dividend reinvesting, how all that stuff happens. So I'm just telling myself that every single day when I go do these workouts. But the second thing is that keeps me motivated and patient is I've seen other people's progress, including yours, that help me know that it works.
Yeah.
And like I'm also seeing other people's comments on some of my reels about zone 2 training, and they're saying the same thing. Like they're either at the same spot I am, or I'm getting some comments where they're like maybe 3-4 months ahead of me, and they're like, just stick with it. It really does work. That's one thing I freaking love about social media, dude. Like I know some people like social media isn't their thing. I totally get it. I love it. There's good and bad from social media and the ways you use it, but for me and how I use it, I love it. It's to my benefit. I was talking to my mother-in-law today. We were FaceTiming the kids with her, and she's been following along the journey and everything, and she's real supportive. And she's like, yeah, I love watching your stuff on Instagram. And I told her, I was like, that's one thing that keeps me motivated. For instance, the family and I, we went to Mexican tonight. We love going to Mexican. We go like once a week. And this place we go to, shit, dude, a few months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, maybe, like before I started the whole running thing, every time we'd go to Mexican, I would order a few margaritas or two big ass 32 ounces of beer, and I would just chug them while I'm at Mexican. And that was like the fun thing to do that night. Like that, Lindsay knew I was gonna go have some beers. We're gonna eat cheese dip and chips and just pig out on Mexican. And tonight was like we haven't been to Mexican in a while, but tonight was like the first night where I'm like, all right, I'm drinking water. I still got my typical meal, but I'm gonna drink water. And I knew I was gonna go do my leg day, which was my day 2 workout, second workout of the day for today, and do the leg day after Mexican. And Lindsay made a comment. She's like, "Wow, like, it's pretty crazy, that you're sticking with it and doing all this." I'm like, "I know, it feels good." But the biggest thing is, dude, I think
Is
is
she
it.
starting to touch you different yet?
Uh,
I'm down 70, 75 pounds, and like I can feel my wife like just she's definitely a little more handsy. I don't know if she's exploring like is that really your body, but like I
she's
figured
trying
like
to find that boiled chicken.
yeah, dude,
Where'd the boiled chicken go?
if she lost a percentage, I mean, she was not nearly like she wasn't obese like I was, but if she lost a percentage of body weight that I lost, I wouldn't be, I can't keep my hands off of her as it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting a little handsy. Do you get,
it's
are you
Go
getting,
ahead.
have you gotten any hate on the zone too?
No, not yet.
No, because I mean, yeah, obviously it's something that's low and slow. So there's going to be people that quit it or said that it's not going to work. And I don't know. I want to mention this too, and I'm not. Maybe I'm spilling the tea here, but you've talked about high blood pressure, and I don't know if it's because how much we talk about hypertension and blood pressure, like between you and I,
Hmm.
that like I just feel like I just keep getting reels from Dr. Peter Attia and these other people just talking about like how much of a silent killer hypertension and blood pressure is right now, and why we focus so much on heart disease and things like that, but hypertension and high blood pressure are just insane. And I've been getting all these reels about how we really need to focus on this. We really need to focus on this. And I think I mentioned the other day when you were getting a little frustrated with your heart rate, I was like, dude, you're upset that you're walking and you're at 150, 160. Could you imagine when you didn't have a heart rate monitor on what your heart was doing, just doing regular basic activities like mowing the fucking lawn?
Dude, yes, absolutely that. But I also think about my long runs that I was doing when I wasn't even looking at my heart rate before the injury happened. Like when I did those 13, 14-mile runs.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to the end of those runs, and literally one of them, it was my second half marathon I ran to the beach. And I told Lindsay when it happened, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I had to stop and like get on my knees because I started seeing those little like balls of light in your, and then so I've passed out a couple times from like needles and shit. And what happens is there's a weird feeling that happens to me in my neck, in the back of my neck. I get this like weird sensation that comes up into my brain. And I know it's just something that my body does. I know the feeling, and it's only whenever I'm about to pass out. And it's only happened when I've like had IVs or shit. I just don't do good with that stuff. So I was on that run and I felt that happening in my neck. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I was like in the middle. I was not by anyone. Like I was literally about to fall on my face and no one was around me. I was like in some like wooded area getting ready to come out to the highway. And I'm like, I need to stop. I need to stop and calm down because I was trying to speed up to beat a time. That's what I was doing. So I know my heart rate, dude, had to been 220 or something. And I almost passed out. I literally had to stop and just like wait. And I could feel myself getting dizzy. And dude, I can't even imagine like how unfit I was. Cause I always thought I was pretty fit. Now I'd like to go back like in earlier days, 7, 8 years ago and see. But over time now, from like late 20s, early 30s, I've really kind of like let myself go and haven't really been as active as I should have been. I wish I could get those years back. I really do. Now that I'm like feeling how I am and understanding things more. But dude, the the way that I'm first, I have a what is it's called like a cuff to check your blood pressure. and I had to get one that my doctor recommended because I did have higher blood pressure. Not nothing I needed meds or anything for, but he's like, for your age, he goes, you need to watch that. Now, my dad's had high blood pressure. My grandpa's had high blood pressure. We're very like high strung, high stressed, anxiety ridden individuals. And that's also, I think, a cause of it. But now with like running and healthier eating and doing all that, I checked it the other day and like it's right where it needs to be.
Do you know what it is off the top of your head? Like
Uh,
even the top or the bottom number?
120 over 80 something.
All right. Yeah, the bottom number is low. But like, yeah, there's people walking around like 130 over 80, and it's like,
Oh, dude, I was like high 130s. Sometimes in the doctor's office, I'd read in the 140s because I was like high. I have like white coat syndrome or something. I don't know, dude. I'm just freaking a big old pussy, I guess.
you don't have to tell me about anxiety, bud.
That's true.
I defined
So
anxiety.
yeah. So like they'd read my blood pressure and they're like, "Oh my goodness," and I was like, "Well, I'm a little nervous right now."
You're the
Like,
guy they take it twice.
oh, they have to.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Well, calm down and we'll check it right before you leave." I was like, "Okay, that sounds good." And it would always read lower, but like sometimes it'd be like in the 140s, and then that lower number would be like 90 something. But I haven't had
Oh my
that.
God.
I haven't had that in forever. So, or not forever, but I haven't had that in a while since I've been really working out,
Yeah.
and it feels it's scary though, dude, because like you said, that is a silent killer that I think probably a lot of people either don't think about or they have and they just kind of let it go and like put it on the back burner and it doesn't really affect them until they get into their late 40s, 50s, 60s years old when they start to realize like, oh shit, I probably need to do something about this. And
Yeah.
sometimes it may be too late. The damage is already done.
Because that bottom number is
Yeah,
when
hang on.
your heart's resting in that bottom number.
Yeah, I wanna come back and say that again. It's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late to change. I do want to correct myself on that. It is never too late to make a change
Just
and
harder
fix
the
your
older you get.
health.
It's a harder the older you get.
100% agree.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do it the older you get. But I don't want if someone's out there like in their 60s or they're 65, 70. I've even talked to my grandma about this. And she's even seen the running stuff and everything, and they're making comments on it. And I'm like, Grandma, I said, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm almost the best. I'm almost to the point right now where it's the best I've ever felt. I've felt better before because I've been in better shape. But I can tell I'm getting back to that old JJ, the younger JJ, early 20s. And I tell them, I'm like, one of the best things you can do, especially if you're like super overweight or if you're a lot older, just go walk.
Walk. Just get outside.
Just walk for a mile, walk for 20 minutes. Then the next week, walk for 21 minutes, then walk for 22. My mom's, I think, catching the bug a little bit, and she listens to
Good.
the podcast every now and then.
Nice.
Mom, if you're listening, shout out to you. But she was over. She was visiting a couple weekends ago, and it was her and I talking on the couch, and you know, just reminiscing. She was like, proud of me for what I'm doing and the changes I'm making and everything. And she's like, I'm not gonna lie. She's like, you're motivating me to want to change myself. And my mom's always been like pretty fit and everything. But she's like, I haven't really done anything in a while and I want to make a change. And I was like, well, I said, Mom, all you got to do is start walking.
Mm-hmm.
I go, start, but she doesn't have a lick of patience like me. But I was like, just start walking, take it slow, enjoy the process, and just start. Like it takes one step to start, and you gotta switch that mindset up. Like it's really hard to start something new like that and stick with it. But the second you make the change and you tell yourself, "I'm not gonna stop," it's wonders what it will do for your mental state and physical state.
Yeah, like this is the point that I was making on all that was like the races and the marathons and the ultra marathons aside, like even if we were never going to race again, like the races are rewards.
They keep me motivated. I will say that.
They're rewards, and that's going to become a whole new addiction for you. Just fucking wait. But
I know. I can already tell, dude.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like we're hearing people sign up for a 5K. Great.
Yeah,
Go, like,
awesome.
or it's breast cancer walk. Go on a breast cancer walk. Go on a mental health walk. Do something. Walk the dog. Get outside. Go on a hike. Go try and take a picture of foliage. Like it, I can't believe it sounds so simple. It's like, hey, how about don't be in debt and invest some money and save a little bit, but we can't figure it out. It's just, I never realized not how sick I was. And I'm not saying like, I'm not even saying like I was a dirtbag. I can call myself a dirtbag because I like to like bully myself, and that's how I respond to things. But like it, if you're like partying and you're doing this, that, and the other thing, like I'm not here to judge. Like I don't think that you're a dirtbag if you want to party. I don't think you're a dirtbag if you don't want to run and you want to drink beers at margarita night. That's not me. What I do want to say is like if you decide that you want to stop doing that, you are going to feel better. Like
Oh, 100%.
it needs to be for you obviously, but like you are going to feel so much better. And we're going to talk about that every week because dude, every week you're going to feel better, I'm going to feel better, and with all the people on that are joining the Discord and talking in the Discord, they're going to start feeling better, and it's just this is like the movement that I am just so fired up about. I mean, we have Jeremy Miller coming on the podcast. He's going to be that episode's going to come out next week, and like another young guy that's just like starting when I wish that I started. Like I can't even think about some of these influencers and some of these entrepreneurs that like are starting as hybrid athletes in their early 20s. Like they're going to be complete and utter savages. And
Yeah.
they just smile more, dude. They like you don't bump into these people that are running, nobody's frowning. Even the older people, like the guy that won Big's Backyard Ultra, he ran for 4 days straight. He's in his late 40s. Dude does not stop smiling. The only fitness freak that I know that doesn't smile is Goggins, but that's just a part of his personality. You know, he probably smiles at his wife from time to time, but like it just feels nobody's grumpy. Even in the personal finance space, there was always
Oh,
grumpy people.
it sucked,
There's
dude.
so many grumpy people. I released a video on YouTube the other day and lost 200 subs. Just the mere looking at my face made people want to unsub. But in the running community, it's
different,
yeah,
so different, and it's so cool to be able to experience two different like sides of the internet.
yeah.
And you're right, man. You hit the nail on the head with that one. Like the running community space is such a more welcoming space. Like the fact that I haven't received hate on every single reel that I've posted, like that blows my mind. Because like in the finance space, anytime you make any form of content, you got someone who's hating on you or like saying you're an idiot or whatever it is.
I used to release a video and then sit and watch the video knowing that I had to like moderate the
Yeah.
comment section for the first
Ugh,
hour
I'm so
between
over that.
scammers and spammers and crypto. And this one is like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, come at me, trolls. I'm here ready. And then it's like, great job, Brad. Proud of you. Oh, that's awesome.
You're doing great. Keep
Yeah,
killing it.
I'm like, oh,
What is this?
I don't even know what to say.
I
Like,
know.
all right, go
Well,
ahead.
hang on. There's one thing I wanted to say too that I've noticed myself is so one thing I don't we definitely talk about, but I think is very maybe it's not underrated, but I've noticed something that has really helped me like shred the weight off, the body fat, the overall feeling mental wise, physical wise is drinking less. Like the fact that I so I used to be like weekends and sometimes weekdays I would drink. Like I would. Weekends usually is like every weekend I was for sure having at least a couple cocktails, at least.
You're a cocktail guy. You weren't crushing beers. You're a cocktail guy.
Yeah, I would crush beers too, but I do love like my gin and tonics and tequilas and stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed, dude, is like I've really, really backed off drinking. And the reason for that is it wasn't really like because I didn't really have like a drinking problem. It was
No.
more of I have runs coming up and I don't want my runs to feel like shit because I enjoy my runs, dude. I look forward to my running workouts. So I just chose to drink less. Now I don't not drink. Like when I go to the brewery, I'm gonna crush some beers. I will. Like
Yeah.
that's my time. But like I know when I do that, that I'm not probably gonna drink for another couple weeks. Like for instance, my last time I drank was the reggae day 2 Sundays ago. And I don't think I'll probably drink for another couple more weeks unless something happens with like neighbors or whatever. Then I'll have a couple cocktails. But like
Thanksgiving, you'll probably have a couple drinks Thanksgiving.
probably not because it's just the family. Like we're not traveling in, so
Oh,
we're
you're
just
not?
it's just yeah, it's just gonna be us four at the house. We're gonna cook a little family dinner. So like
Oh, maybe not then.
I probably won't have a cocktail just because like Lindsay don't drink. That's the other good thing is like
Yeah, your wife doesn't drink.
my
Yeah.
wife doesn't drink. So I mean,
You
she'll
didn't
have
drink when you put up that fucking Christmas tree in the middle of October, you savage. You're doing it every year now to piss me off.
That's exactly. Well, no, it was the day. So the day after not the day after Halloween, but the first week of November, Christmas tree is for sure going up.
And you're not even trolling me. You've been doing that for like 10
Oh,
years.
since I've been born, dude.
No, since I known you, yeah.
I
Like
mean, my family did it. You
I
know.
mean, I remember like I just like I look in the background and it was a little weird. I was taken off guard the other day when I saw you in your Insta story and you like walked over and I was like, holy shit.
No, as soon
It's
as
up and decorated too. It's not even like you're letting it like hang out. Like
oh no way, dude. We're listening to Christmas music today at lunch. We had Christmas music on. Which is kind of weird with the warm weather. I will say that. Like it's
But
I
you did
found
Christmas
it
in warm last year.
we did. It was weird. It felt weird. Like
Yeah.
it's harder to be in the like we're still in the Christmas spirit, but it's not the same, dude. That is one thing I
Yeah.
do miss from like back home.
Do your flannels and hoodies call you from the closet? JJ.
Oh, they miss me so much, dude.
JJ.
I miss them.
Oh, like right now I got my nice little 3/4 zip on right now. It's
Oh,
58 degrees in the house.
oh. Yeah, I do miss that. I miss that a lot. But,
Speaking of reggae night, let's talk about this before we lose half the viewers.
Okay, go ahead.
It's official. I'm coming to Florida.
Yes, sir.
We talked about, I've said it, and I'm a man of my fucking word, if anything. I might be a goofball, but if I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And I said, if you ever ran a marathon, I would be there. So I'm coming down to Jack's. We're both signed up. I'm going to run right beside you until the last 100 yards, and then I'm going to dust you.
Peace out, bitch.
Start to half wheel you. But I'm going to fly out on Monday so that we can maybe meet up. So anybody that's in the South or anybody that wants to come in. We haven't done a meetup since January. When I hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, we did a meetup. And we had people flying from California, flying from Texas. We people drive up from Maryland. We had a pretty good crowd, and we were at the brewery. We got after it. It was a fantastic time. I think me and you were like, we went to some Italian joint for dinner after that, and I think we were drinking like espresso martinis or something like that.
We got a little fancy.
It got weird. Is that the day? Because is that the time you flew out the next morning? You threw up in the Uber, or was that another time you came up?
Oh, dude, I don't even remember anymore.
The Uber driver started to talk to you, and you're like, dude, stop talking to me.
No, it was literally, well, the shitty part, it was like a 6 o'clock in the morning Uber. And me and I both woke up and we're both like, ugh. And I get in the Uber and the guy's like, wanted to be my best friend. And I finally had to tell the guy, I was like, bro, like, I can't.
I think I was supposed to.
Right now.
I think I was supposed
you
to
were
drive.
supposed to drive.
And I was like, Jay, I can't drive you there.
Yep.
You got the Uber. And you're like, what? I'm like, I can't drive because we were up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Dude, that was the worst. That was the worst flight in my life.
And I used to do that every day. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, dude.
But
so let's meet up.
We're gonna do a meetup, and we're gonna probably do it at the brewery, maybe where do you know when they have the reggae night days on Sundays, or do they just do them randomly?
They do them randomly, and I don't know if it'll be that Sunday or
no.
not.
You're gonna get on the horn with the owner and be like, "Little marathon weekend, I'm gonna need some reggae after this race."
I would love that. Now there are more breweries where the race is at, because like that brewery is a little far away from the marathon.
Yeah, but it's gonna be butts to nuts close to the marathon. We want to get out of there.
Oh yeah, anything close to that marathon will be jam packed with people.
And if nobody comes, we're going to my buddy Studley's house. Just hear me out, because he's got a pool table. He's got a pool. The kids can come. He's gonna spoil them. He'll probably buy them gifts. Because you got to meet Studley. Because once you meet Uncle Studley, then you're gonna have a good buddy down there. And he's a real estate guy. So
awesome.
Studley. So we're coming down. So what date is that? If people want to come visit.
It'd be the marathon is Sunday the 4th, I believe, February. Yeah.
Whatever that Sunday is, the 5th or the 4th, whatever the Sunday is.
It's February 4th. And then let's just say it now. If we do it, we'll meet up at Wicked Barley Brewery. That's the name of it.
Wicked Barley.
Yep.
All right.
It's off Bay Meadows.
And you're going to, and we'll talk about it I mean, that's February. We'll talk about it again in episodes, but
And Instagrams and stuff too.
yeah. So if you want to come in, just come in for a night. I mean, I know there's people that, cause you're in, I mean, Jax is like way north in Florida. So even if you're not from Florida and you're in the surrounding areas and you want to come down and see us, I mean, we're going to run 5 hours. What time's the race start? 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning?
Oh, I'll have to look. I don't remember.
Probably be there by 2.
Yeah,
All right.
probably.
So about that marathon, let's talk about
Okay.
coaching and building a plan. Like who needs a training plan? B, who needs a coach? And what would that look like? So when anybody ever asks me like, hey, will you coach me for this? Obviously we're going to talk about like what the distance is. Cause I'm not qualified really anything over the marathon. I'm not really even qualified. I don't think I just don't have enough experience. I can tell you what I did for my ultras, but I wouldn't feel like comfortable like coaching somebody on anything greater than the marathon distance. But you definitely want to work backwards from that date. And I think depending on the distance, I'm going to say 16 weeks is probably like how long you should probably plan out a marathon. Like 16 weeks is a good amount. I prefer 20 to 24 weeks. And what's going to be the difference between that 16 weeks and that 24 weeks is going to be like what kind of mileage base do you have? Like with JJ, we knew that we're not like trying to set any times. We're kind of just we want to finish pain free and we don't want to be completely mangled after. So we're not really going to be worried about paces. We're going to be doing a walk run strategy during the race. We're going to be enjoying ourselves. It's not because you are on a shorter time frame because of that injury that you were dealing with your knee. If you're going to go for something like the marathon, we'll start with the marathon and work our way back to 5K. If you were going to go to marathon and you wanted 16 weeks, I would say that you should be comfortably running 20 to 25 miles a week, pain-free for at least a month. Because if you can't be consistent, then it doesn't matter. Like I just made a reel the other day and I said, like, if you're thinking about jumping up in distance, whether it's 5K to 10K, 10K to half marathon, etc., and you're worried about like, oh my God, am I going to be able to complete that distance? That's not the question you should be asking yourself. The question you should really be asking yourself is, am I committed to training in the current life that I have? Because sometimes it's just not convenient. If you are going to school, you're trying to get your PhD, you just had a kid, your wife is pregnant, you're starting a small business. There's many different things that can keep you from being able to train for something. The distance means absolutely nothing. Race day is a cherry on top. You're going there, you're collecting your little finisher's medal, and then you're earning yourself a really good dinner after that. The question you should be asking yourself, and this is a hard talk sometimes, because if you're not like, I was supposed to do that Javelina 100 on October, that day of October. I was on the list, but I had to make myself look at myself in the mirror and say, Brad, you do not have the time in your schedule to commit to the training. So that's really like what you need to ask yourself. And if you want to train for a marathon, you should be consistent enough that you can run 20 to 25 miles a week. And if you can't, then your goal is to get to a spot where you can run 20 to 25 miles a week. And then you're going to look to maybe get a coach or start a training plan, because God knows you can get a training plan online for free. It's Hal Higgin. He's great. But what a coach is going to do is, and this, I just hired a coach for my 100-miler. The reasons that I hired a coach are because not only do I need a coach to push me, but I need a coach to hold me back. Because in the days of Strava and Friends and Instagram and all this stuff, like and I'll give you a great example. I told my coach that I wanted to do a certain race in it was like maybe mid-March. And he was like, no, like not even an explanation. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, and I was like, dude, it's a local race. My friends are racing. Like, it would be really cool. He's like, are your friends going to come get you through the 100-miler? Because when they're done with their race, they're going to go back to drinking and hanging out on the beach. And you're still going to have 6 weeks and you might compromise that. So he's like, I'm here you pay me to tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. You have one job, follow directions. And I'm like, okay. And I said that in my story today on my run. I can't wait to have a coach because you have one fucking job when you're being coached.
It's pretty nice.
Follow directions. You don't have to think about how far should I run? Am I running too much? Am I not running enough? Am I lifting? You don't have to run. You just do what you're fucking told and you're good to go. So what I needed, I need somebody to hold me back because I'm the type of guy that wants to go to every local 5K, every local 10K. I want to go race with friends. He wasn't even too stoked when I told him that I was going to go run the marathon with you. And I told him like, this is a non-negotiable for me. Like he's a human
Mm-hmm.
being. I was like, non-negotiable. I'm like, we're probably going to go 10:30 pace, maybe even 11. We're probably going to
Mm-hmm.
walk for half of it. And it means a lot to me to get down there. And he's like, okay. He goes, if you get hurt though, I'm going to fly to New York and punch you in the face. I was like, okay, I can do that. So like, if you are somebody that like likes to follow directions and likes to be told, like my wife is a great example. As a collegiate athlete, she's super coachable. You tell her to do anything. She doesn't question it. She doesn't ask why.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't ask how. She's like, I'll fucking do it. Okay. And if you're that type of person, then a coach is great for you, or on the opposite, maybe you do need that push. I know there's going to be times where I don't want to go out and do certain workouts. And I'm thinking, man, like coach is like, how am I going to explain this to coach?
Yeah.
And also too, another thing that when I was interviewing coaches, because that's another thing, you have to find somebody that works for you.
Let me make a quick point real
Go,
quick.
go.
Having someone to hold yourself accountable is, I think, a big game changer in staying consistent with your training or even just staying consistent with your running in general. Because one, with you kind of coaching me with this marathon training, and then also knowing that like I have other people watch me through social media, like that helps me hold myself accountable. And now like in mornings when I used to would like work out or have a workout plan to be like, oh, I really don't want to do this today. It'd
Yeah.
be so much easier for me to skip because no one knew that I skipped. No one.
Right.
Now people know if I skip. If I skip because if I don't have that Strava thing posted from my watch, I didn't run that day when I was
Yeah.
supposed to run. Like it does help me hold myself accountable. Now when I wake up, I'm like, all right, when am I going to do this run today based on my schedule? And then I kind of move from there.
And I don't think it's a sign of weakness if you need external motivation. Like, I am not Goggins. I'm not Cam Hanes. I'm not one of those people that just wakes up on fire, ready to.
For sure.
I definitely have those days, but yeah, like I am a person. I have no problem admitting it. Like, I need external motivation, whether it's hate from people. That's external motivation for me. I did my first Ironman because my buddy laughed in my face when I told him I wanted to do it one day. Literally, he laughed in my face, and I went to the computer and I signed up that day. I was like, I will not take that smoke from you, And maybe that external motivation is, like I said, I started my first YouTube channel because I wanted to get out of debt. So I needed to tell as many people as I could that I was getting out of debt. So when I didn't, they could call bullshit on me. Like that external motivation was there. And like I said, a coach, especially somebody that if you find someone that you really look up to and like you really value their opinion of what they're saying and of their opinion of you, I think that's super, super important. So like, that's like another reason you can like, you have somebody to bounce ideas off of if they're more experienced. I'll give you another example. So I'm interviewing my coach and I'm like, can you tell me some things that, that go on in a training program that like I'm not doing right now? Because he gave me a full, this was a long conversation, like a pre-call that we had. And he's like, in your race, you are going to race overnight. And he goes, I am going to have some workouts that are time, distance, but also time of day. He's like, I'm going to have you run Saturday morning, long run, like regular. And I'm going to have you do your Sunday run at midnight. He's like, I'm going to tell you that you need to go out. And while you're out, you need to eat 1,000 calories on an overnight run. And you got to figure out how you're going to stomach 1,000 calories in 3 hours. He's like, I'm going to do those certain things that I've learned from my experience in ultra marathons that you don't just think about in training. Like, yeah, you're going to have an overnight. And I'm like, boom. So like, I mean, that's a bigger distance in the marathon. You don't necessarily need to be going out at 1:00 in the morning, but finding somebody that's experienced enough that has learned the lessons that you don't want to learn on race day is another great reason to get a coach. So that's like as far as the marathon. Now, as you go down, I still think the amount of time is valuable. Like I still would say like you could go 16 weeks for a 5K, a 10K, but obviously the motivations are going to be different. Like, are we going for a marathon to finish? Are we going for a marathon to qualify for Boston? Those are two different athletes that I'm going to coach and two different types of speed workouts and quality workouts and things like that. And we'll talk about the actual structure in a second, but if you want to put a 5K, like couch to 5K, I think 2 months you could do couch to 5K. That's going to be 8 weeks. But even like a 10K half marathon, I think training for a half marathon, frankly, is going to be the same amount of time as training for a marathon. You're going to want 16 weeks, I think. And it all comes, and this is the first phase of training, which is base fitness. And it's kind of like if you grow tomato plants, you have the seedling stage, and you don't really call it a plant until it has its fourth node, right? In the beginning, it's just a seedling. And we have to get through that very fragile state of this plant's life. That's the same as the base phase. Like if you go into a training plan for a marathon,
is that what I'm in right now?
Yes, you're building base fitness. We're making sure that your heart is going to come down in heart rate. We're making sure you're not going to get injured. We're just adding volume at very, very low intensities. We're keeping you as fresh as possible so that you're not worn out, you're not burnt out. You're begging me for more, literally. That's like that's exactly what I need. And I told you that's probably for us. We were going to do that for 3-4 weeks, and right now we're in 3 weeks of that, and we have you at like 17 miles. My goal now is going to get you up to like anywhere between 30 to 40. To be honest, 30 is fine for a marathon. It really is. If you can get a couple weeks of 30, that is more than enough for somebody that wants to finish the race. 30 miles is probably not going to be a sub 4-hour marathon. It's definitely not going to be, I think you'd be very, very hard pressed to find anybody that's going under 4 hours that's doing really less than 30, 40 miles per week.
It's not my goal.
Yeah. So like, that's another thing about knowing the athlete, but people think too, like it's a 5K. Do I really need a coach, or do I really need a training plan, or should I just go out and run? And like I said, for the examples that I just said, like, it's always a good idea to have ideas and things to bounce off of people, and to have a structure of knowing what you need to do. Go.
A point I want to make with that too, though, is I've always been the type of guy that's like, I'm going to do this myself. I'm just going to figure it out and do it myself. But when it comes to running, there's so many things that I didn't know and that I still don't know, but I've learned so much about running from you, from research, from watching videos, from following other people that I never even knew existed, dude. Like, I literally thought if I was going to train for this marathon myself and had no one to talk about, I just would have gone out and run 5 days a week and not really have any structure and just keep running until my body felt like I could take on more miles. Like, that's all I would do.
Yeah.
Wouldn't focus on heart rate, wouldn't focus on any of that shit. It'd just be like, all right, how do I feel? Let me go run and see how far I can go, and then I'll figure out the next week later. So the amount of stuff that I've learned is insane. But the other benefit, I guess, with like having a coach is you can learn that stuff as you're going. You can save yourself so much time, and also save yourself in time from not having injuries, because I also was doing stupid shit when I was first running and just attacking more miles and not having good form and not listening to you saying you need to do your cadence running work a little better and doing all this shit. And I ended up hurting myself. I got myself injured with the knee, and then I was out for a total of like 8 weeks or something like that. So that would have been 7 to 8 weeks I would have got back in running, dude. And I may have been able to run that 100K with you. I don't know if I would have taken a better route. Maybe I would have been still a little too in over my head with that. But the point I'm making is, if you have a coach, you can save yourself a lot of time and knowledge, and a lot of time and potentially injuring yourself.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's down to experience, and I'm the same exact person. Like, I didn't have a coach for my 100K, but I learned the hard way that I needed one. I thought that I could get myself to the line, which I got myself to the line with like the bare minimums, right? I knew that I needed to build mileage. At the time I peaked around 60 to 70 miles per week. I did that for about a month. But there was other things I did not think about. Nutrition over 18 hours, different weather conditions, literally, because you're out there for 19 hours, you're getting a full sun, you're getting darkness, you're getting all these things. And it's like, oh man, I wish I would have had somebody that would have had me go out and run in the middle of the night, or had me do different back-to-back long runs. And I said, like, I'm not going to do that again for my 100 miler. If I'm going to invest this much time. I mean, I was running 15 hours a week for months. If I'm going to invest 15 hours a week for months, I'm going to invest in this race, I'm going to invest in this gear. Like, what's a couple $100 a month to know that I'm going to succeed? You know, and like, I like nice things. I invest in myself. Like, my coach is not cheap, like not cheap at all. But I would rather invest that in myself and know that I, kind of like I was mentioning in my last reel, I think you can step up to a starting line either scared or hungry. And when I stepped up in Grindstone, I stepped up scared. And it wasn't scared that I didn't train. It was just there was so many unknowns. Like a coach would have eliminated so many unknowns for me to get me back to that like middle of the road and into that hungry phase of stepping up to the line. And like the time that has nothing to do with scared or hungry. Like me and you, we're going to step up and we know we're probably going to go 5.5 hours, which most would consider a slow marathon, but you're not going to be worried about it. Right.
No.
We're going to be prepared for that.
It's going to be a good baseline for me
yeah,
to compare myself to years down the road.
dude, it's not even gonna be when you do the 100K in September, your marathon's gonna be faster than your one in February, and that's gonna be in 100K. Yeah,
I mean, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So build phase, like what it might look like as far as like speed work and things like that. Like I'm throwing tempo stuff in for you only because I know that you're a lot like me, and just going out for easy miles every day is boring. Like you like to check boxes. You like, having a structure and different things to do, and having like a different routine. And it's still a lot of walking, a lot of easy miles. Most people building, I'm just going to say, hey, go out and run at a low heart rate and call me back when you get to 25, 30 miles a week for the marathon. Because Frank, you don't need to pay me to go out 4 or 5 times a week, get consistent, and then you could start paying me, because frankly, that's what I'm going to tell you to do until you're running 25, 30 miles a week. Once we get to there, then we're going to enter like the build phase, which will be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how long the base phase was. And during that time, that's when you're going to start to suffer. That's when you're going to start to incorporate speed work and look for adaptations. If you follow Nick Bear, that's like right where he is. He's at right on the end of his build phase, where like workouts are really hard. He's carrying a lot of fatigue. He's able to handle the workouts, but every single day is something that he needs to tackle. There's no more like quote easy days. He's not injured, which is another thing a coach does fantastic, pushing you to that limit, but knowing the difference between carrying fatigue and being overtrained and going into that, we might become injured phase of things. And that's going to be like the bread and butter, right? That build phase. That's where we decide, do you want to be a 4-hour marathon or do you want to be a 3-hour marathon? That's really where all of that work is done. And that goes into pretty much a 3-week build phase, which is going to be pretty much start about 5 to 6 weeks out from the race, where you're going to start doing your peak long runs, your peak mileage. That's where like when I build a training plan, I'm working backwards from that peak week. I say, what's race date? We have 2 weeks for a taper, generally a week and a half for a taper, which is when we calm down. We start cutting mileage dramatically. We'll keep the same intensity, but we're going to lower volume. And we're going to do that for 2 weeks. And then I think about, okay, what can this athlete handle in a peak week? And then I build those 3 peak weeks. That's where I start. I start at the back. And then depending on what the date is today and how long we have for base and build, that's where we can start to have some fun with it. And I usually build 2 weeks at a time. So like I'll have something I kind of laid out for people, but when I'm doing the build phase, I'm managing, because you don't have to do it because you hired a coach. I'm managing that fatigue and that stress and that load that I'm putting on you. And I'm also getting feedback from the athlete. And, they're being honest with me because I'm going to tell them they have to be. And I can adjust every 2 weeks or so and, not like cancel the plan or change it, but we can vary different rest periods, different repeats. Are we repeating 800s? Are we repeating 400s? Are we doing more tempo work, marathon pace work, things like that? It's a fun little puzzle for me, but that's kind of where that 16 weeks comes from. You got 5 weeks of peak and taper right at the end. And then you have about 8 to 9 maybe build weeks. And then everything else before that is base. And during those build weeks, I'm looking at 3 pretty much quality workouts, 3 main workouts, key workouts that we need to hit. One of them is going to be like on the track. That's going to be like your intervals and your tempo work. Like that's going to be like repeats of 800 meters, 400 meters with certain rest and things like that. That's going to be like the first, that we call it like a maximum velocity workout. Like when we're really pushing things where we don't even need our heart rate on because we're just going full gas. The second type of like workout that we're going to try and do is like marathon pace, or like slightly above marathon pace, where we're going to have a warm up and then we're going to do blocks of marathon pace, whether it's one big block or whether it's a block, a rest, a block, and then a cool down. So that's going to get our body used to building at that marathon pace. And usually we'll start with blocks, maybe like 3 blocks with a certain rest in between. And then essentially we want to shorten those rests. Then we have 2 bigger blocks where we go from 3 blocks down to 2 blocks and then all the way down during peak week. Now we're going to be running marathon effort paces in a long, long effort. And then the last third key workout is going to be that long run. And that long run, you'd think, shouldn't we be doing the long run at marathon pace? And it's a no, because the long workout is more for testing gear, testing nutrition, getting up in the morning, knowing what you want to eat. These are more race day simulations that you can't like learn on race day. Like you're going to go full gas and we can worry about the paces and all that, but you can't know what it feels like to be hungry 2.5 hours into a run until you are. Right? I can teach you speed and I can get your fitness up where you might be able to run further than you've ever ran, but you don't know what it's like to be hungry until you're that. So that's really what the long run is. And I focus everything around those 3 workouts. Every athlete that I have will have 3 key workouts like that, maybe 2 if it's a shorter distance race. And then the rest of the week is just nice, easy miles to build to whatever I want that peak mileage to be. Whether you have 2 rest days or 1 rest day, whether you cross train, every workout plan I've ever built is 3 workouts, and then everything else is really fluff on top of that. And if you look at the spreadsheet that I made you, I have 2
workouts right now.
I have 2 workouts built for you. And then the third one's a long run. That goes without saying. And then what we'll do every 2 weeks is I'm going to fill in I'm going to build your mileage on those days that I haven't filled in yet. I know what I want for your key workout 1 and your key workout 2, and that's probably going to be between 20 and 30 miles for the week, what your base is right now. And then anything above and beyond that 20 miles that I want to go, I'm going to do that in the rest of the week with nice, easy miles. I know that was a lot, but I get fired up about this shit.
Yeah, no, it was a lot. I mean, as you were talking, I was pulling up my training program, whatever you call it, that you made me, the spreadsheet. And I was just kind of following along as you were talking about that. But
yeah, you see Tuesdays usually going to be intervals and stuff like that and thresholds. And that's kind of what you did today.
Yep. Wednesdays are like kind of like easy runs.
Mm-hmm.
Thursdays are
marathon pieces. You'll see some M's in there and maybe some tempos.
Saturdays are longer days.
Yep.
Sundays are right now, so far, I can't see anything else on here, but so far it's like kind of whatever you have left in the mileage goal for that.
Right. So yeah. And then I write that for Sunday, like, hey, we want to get whatever mileage you have left to get to this mile or rest.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some days where like, hey, and what makes that really awesome is I think when we go online and we Google a training plan, right, there's no feedback, right? So you look at that training plan and you immediately think to yourself, if I don't do every single one of these, I'm fucking myself over. Training plans, generic training plans you're going to find online, they don't incorporate illness. They don't incorporate your kid's sick. They don't incorporate holidays. They don't incorporate what day you like to rest on or what day you want to be your long run. Like, you're an entrepreneur. You don't have to do your long runs on the weekends like most people. Right. Maybe you want your rest day to be Wednesday because you play pickleball with your grandma on Wednesday, whatever. When you get a generic plan, you can't make those adaptations like you can with a coach. And the beautiful thing is with those fluff days, I'm telling you, like, the non-negotiables are going to be those 3 key workouts. If you get to Wednesday and you're like, Brad, I got 3 miles in me. I'm like, okay, then we're going to make it up on Sunday, you know? Or if you're like, hey, I was out on an easy run and I stayed easy and I turned 6 into 8. I'm like, sweet, you just earned yourself a day off on Sunday. You know, the non-negotiables will be 3 days. And if, like I said, if you're an athlete and you can't commit to 3 days training for a marathon a week, you're just not ready. I hate to say that, but you're just not ready. And whatever that reason, it doesn't make you a dirtbag. It just makes you not ready to commit to a marathon. You need 3 key days and then a bunch of easy days.
Yeah.
Same for a half marathon. I'm gonna do the same thing for a half marathon. Just your volume is just gonna be less. You're gonna have a keyword. You're gonna hit the track on Tuesday. You're gonna do half marathon paces, and you might think to yourself like, I've never run a marathon. How the F do I know what my marathon paces are? Well, you test the athletes in different distances. I had you do a 10K test. I had you do a 4 mile low heart rate test. I know what your low heart rate is. I know what your max heart rate is. And there's predictors and calculators. Like on, if you have a Garmin watch, you can go on Race Predictor and it'll tell you. It's just pretty much a formula that gives you a general baseline of if you can run this distance, hypothetically, you should be able to run that distance. So you base everything off of those predictions. And then you just, like I said, I think it had me predicted to do a 3:30 marathon. I probably could, not on that course, not on that day. But I mean, it's not always right. But a coach is going to say, hey, my prediction is better because I know you as a person. I know what days you like to work out. I know how you handle hills. I know how you handle stress. I know what if you like it warm, whether you like it hot. I know what shoes you like to wear. Like they know all of those things. Like the 3 people I'm coaching right now, like I literally know what kind of spandex they like to wear. It's fucking weird.
What kind of spandex do I like to wear?
Nike. Now you wear Under Armour spandex, don't you?
No, I have Fabletics. Actually, I don't even have spandex. I don't even use that.
No, yeah. Have you got a good chafe yet?
I did on my 10 mile run.
Do you have anti-chafe cream or no?
No.
All right, I won't shout them out because they're not sponsored, but yeah.
I do need to probably get some, when I start longer days.
Gonna need some lube.
Yeah. Actually, I did use Aquaphor before on a couple longer days. I had pre-injury running.
Other stupid things like you don't know that you need to put band-aids on your nipples.
I didn't know. Remember, you told me that. I was like, I remember saying, I was like, dude, like, because you've been surfing before, right?
Yeah.
I think I was like, you know, when you go surfing sometimes and your nipples get real raw from like rubbing on the board from paddling.
That's why you wear a rash guard, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I felt whenever my first real long run. I think I wore like a cotton shirt.
Oh, yeah,
tank.
I was gonna say it was definitely cotton.
Yeah, and it was just like hanging on me. So then it would just, it just kept doing this for however many miles it was. And I came back, I was like, oh no.
Dude, the New York City Marathon, like you can definitely Google like marathon nipple pics. Like the worst is when you have a cotton shirt on and you're sweating, and then you get a little bit of breeze, one of these.
Ooh.
And it just perks the nips right up and they just chafe right off and you bleed right through your shirt.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like a stinging pain. It is.
Oh yeah.
It's the worst.
It does suck.
And you always see Glaze always has nipple tape on.
Yep. I have noticed that.
Dude, he uses KT. I just use Band-Aid. It's probably more expensive than KT tape, but oh yeah. These are things you wouldn't know.
Had no idea, dude. There's a whole new world I'm learning about right now.
Whole new world.
But I will say, I am excited to kind of take this training on, see where it goes and to see how I perform on race day. That's really it, dude. Like, as so far, I do feel like, so just coming from the athlete side, I guess, I feel good every workout. And I know that's like our goal right now. And I am craving, I think if there's one thing I would say I'm craving more of is longer, easier runs. But here's the thing though. I say that now, but I get irritated on my 4 mile easy days staying under 148. It just irritates me because it takes so long and I feel like I'm running so slow. Although, weird thing, my mouse freaking died on me right now. I can't scroll over to see this. Actually, I have touchscreen on here. Dang it. Anyways, my whatever it was, I think it was my Sunday run, maybe. It would have been whatever day I had 4 easy miles. I noticed that my heart rate on mile 1 was starting to spike a little bit, so I had to keep backing off. Mile 2 was shitty. I had to like walk a couple times. But then mile 3 and 4, it actually negative split me, which was weird. It was like my body, I could feel like my body kind of like take over. It was like, okay, here's your spot. This is the spot you want to be in. Toward like, mile 1, it was maybe like 13-minute mile, about 13:30. Mile 2 was in the 14s, but then mile 3 was back in the 13s. Mile 4 was in the 12s, or like maybe low 13s, high 12s. I was like, what the hell is going on? But I felt better.
Yeah.
Like I could feel like my heart adjusting to the mileage as I was, and I've always noticed that too on my longer runs, is the first 2 miles are the hardest.
Yep.
The first 2 miles are the hardest for me.
Soon it's gonna be the first 5.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just got to get to 5 miles. And dude, I'm telling you, I know exactly what you're saying. Doesn't it piss you off when you're like, got 15 miles in at 71 minutes, and you're like, you ran 15 miles in an hour and 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like what? I can't do like. I
I
know.
run it takes me 4 hours to run, or
It
no,
takes you
it
an
takes me
hour
1 hour to run 4 miles,
yeah.
which is crazy. Like, I mean, obviously I could run it faster than that, but for what my goal is right now,
Right.
that's what it takes me, and it's a little frustrating, but
I'll tell you, this just started happening to me where like I used to like my wife would be like, "How long are you going out for?" And I used to just round everything to the 10. So like if I was
mhm,
doing 9 miles, I would just say 90 minutes. And I'm just getting to the point where I started using eights, where it's like now a 90-minute run for me is 11 miles, and I'm like, man, that's cool because
dude,
like you said, it's easier. Like I know that when I used to go out and run for an hour, I was going to get between 5 and 6 miles. Now, if I go out and run for an hour, I'm getting 7 to 8 miles, and it's like, but that's where the mileage doesn't really matter that much. It's more
yeah,
time on feet.
yep,
The mileage is going to adapt because a couple months ago when it was summer, my paces were a lot slower, but my time on feet was good. So it's like
mhm,
even, and I'll ask athletes, I'll say, hey, are you more of a time or a mileage person? And they're like, oh, I like mileage. I'm programming it according to time and their pace and then just plugging in a mile for them so they feel special.
right,
But like I'm always going to be using time on feet, because it doesn't matter what pace. And this kind of what happened to me at Grindstone, and why I really believe in it is I planned for a pace that I there was no way. So that pace gave me a certain amount of time. So all my training was like, I need to know how to eat for 15 hours. I need to be able to have clothes for 15 hours. I need to feel good for 15 hours because the slowest I'm going to go is 15 hours. Boom, shit hits the fan. Now I'm 17, 18 hours in, and I'm in a world I've never been in before. And I'm in a state that I've never been in before because I didn't train myself time on feet. I didn't train myself for the possibility of shit. You might be out there for 18, 19 hours.
hmm.
Like we're going to train you like, oh man, we might be out there for 7 hours. But if we're out there for 7 hours, I mean, we're going to have you pulling beers off the sideline if you're out there for 7 hours.
Yeah, I don't think hopefully I'm not out there that long, dude. I
Nah,
mean,
5 hours, 5 hours, man. Under 5.
if yeah, that's like my goal. Like if I had to say it was a goal, it'd be sub 5.
I'm going to pace us to 550 and give ourselves 10 minutes of leeway.
Cool.
450, I mean, 450 with 10
Yeah.
minutes of leeway.
Yeah.
You'll get it under 5. Dude, it's pancake flat.
Well, it's that is the good part about this marathon. It is
It's pancake
super flat.
Pancake flat.
Yeah.
It looks like beautiful around the water.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a cool one. I'm excited, dude. I don't feel nervous. I know race day I'll have like the race jitters and stuff, but like I don't feel nervous about it. Like I feel pretty confident that like I'm going to complete it. Unless something just crazy happens, like I know I'm going to complete the race because I'm taking this training serious and I want to get to that starting line and I want to know that I put in the work and I feel good. I'm not nervous of like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to complete this or not. Like, because that is my ultimate goal is completing the race. And then further down the road in my running career is like bettering my time and stuff. But I'm curious.
I
I
think
want to
that I
get
think the average marathon time for men this year was like 440.
perfect.
The average.
Yeah.
So like if we go 450, you did really fucking good, especially with what we did 13 weeks, I think we did. Or we for 13 weeks out?
Yeah. Right now, I'm 12 weeks out right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So we shall see.
We did 16 with you. We just really didn't do a base phase, but you were running before the injury, and I knew that we could short the build phase by 3 weeks to focus on the base phase because I knew that you were going to build that confidence, and I knew that like getting that aerobic base and building that confidence for you of knowing that all right, we're good to go. Like we're going to do speed work because it's fun and because it's going to break up the week a little bit.
Mhm.
But we're until we get to that 30 mile threshold, it's going to be a big. Have you ever done a 30-mile week? What's your biggest week?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
probably pretty close.
pretty close to 30-mile weeks, right?
Yeah.
So like once we get to there and like you're running 30 miles a week with the ease that you're running right now, 20-mile weeks, because 10 miles is a big jump. It's 2/3 jump. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a third of a jump. But yeah, that's when we get to that. When we get to 30, then and you're still begging for more, we'll probably raise the intensity up, and that's where we'll get speed. We won't get any more speed from going from 30 miles to 40, but if we can keep doing 30s and raise the intensity of the training, that's when we're going to decrease our time.
Okay. I'm trying to look here to see how do I look on Strava to see like what my
It's probably easier on the desktop because I think
uh,
on your Strava, actually no, if you go to like on the top of the app, let me show, I'll just walk you through it. So if you go to progress, they just changed the app.
statistics maybe.
No, you goals. Oh, when you're on the one that has like your actual like the map of your miles,
Yeah.
if you scroll down, there's like goals, monthly activities, October, and then training log. Do you have that? You have the free one, or do you pay for it?
I have the paid trial right now, free trial.
Yeah. So if you go down to training log on your progress page, so the one that has this week and that tells
Yes,
you,
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
and you go down and if you hit training log, it'll give you the distance for each week to the right, and you can scroll back that way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So looks like 22, 27.6, 30.6.
30.
That was June.
Perfect.
That was my biggest month.
Perfect.
30.6.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just gonna be doing those, no problem.
That's when I
What?
did a half marathon on Saturday.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna say, what is that? What did that week look like?
I did Monday was rest, Tuesday was 5.6, Wednesday was a rest day, Tuesday was 3.1. What's 2 mean?
You did two
Oh,
workouts.
and then I did a treadmill climb.
Okay.
Friday was 6.1, Saturday was 13.2, Sunday was 2.6.
Yeah, it's a good week.
30.6.
Wait till you're doing 70.
Oh my gosh, I know, dude. I can't wait though, man. Like I really can't.
I
I'm
know,
excited.
because you're gonna do it, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, where did I find the time?" Because right now, that's the one thing when I was like, "How do I get to? I'm gonna do 70 miles." I'm like, "Where am I gonna find 15 hours of
I
running?"
know.
And then you do it, and you think back, and then if it goes the other way, you're like, "What the fuck was I doing with my life before I
I
was
know.
running?" Like right now, I'm in off season, like just running like 30 miles, and I'm like, "La la la." I'm recording YouTube videos. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
like actually like talking to my kids, not being a deadbeat dad.
So what do you think what do you think I'll be like what's the training? I mean, not the whole training look like, but when do you think I should start like training for the 100K after the marathon? Cuz I think I want to run a 50K in between there,
Yeah, no, I mean,
like a
well,
race.
I think after the marathon's February 4th. We'll probably have you just maintain fitness and run like 20, 30 miles a week for the rest of February. And then I think March 1, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 7 months. So you really, I mean, I'd say April 1st, we really don't have to worry about throwing down too hard. But if you wanted to take a couple weeks off, I mean, like off, I say maintain fitness, like
Mhm.
20 to 25 miles a
Yeah.
week after the marathon, and you wanted to look for like an April 50K, even a May 50K.
Okay.
Anytime you can look at 50Ks pretty much anytime 6 weeks or less. I mean, 6 weeks or more from race day. So the race is September. So like August, I would say like mid July would be as late as I would probably have you go. And mid July, actually early July, July 9th, I did the 60K.
Okay.
That was the one in the pouring torrential downpour.
Yep.
And that was like the last big race that I did leading into Grindstone.
So July, August time frame is when I should. All right.
And I'm gonna do that race again. Actually, no, I think yeah, I'm gonna do that Red Wing 60K again. So if you want
You're
to come
gonna.
up if you want to come up to New York,
That would be fun. Maybe I'll do that.
because I got lapped last year, and that's just not happening. I got third to last place. Shit is not happening again. I'm going on a redemption tour to all the little races I did this year. I
And
just
like
got
that's
waxed,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
I just got waxed. I'm going
Maybe I'll do that.
full send.
Maybe
And,
I'll come up and run that with you. That'd be fun.
and then I told, definitely not public information, but I told you I'm going out to a race in July to crew for somebody that I'm fucking. Let's go.
That's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
When will that come out?
Um.
When it's official or what?
I I don't know. I'll probably leave it up to them.
Mm.
I just don't know if they publicly say they want to race. I
Oh yeah.
mean,
Okay. That makes sense.
I think they will maybe after the race sells out,
Yeah.
you know, or unless the race sponsors them and they want them to bring people to the race. I don't know. I was just asking. I was just giving an NDA.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't fucking say anything. And I'm like, don't worry. I'll just tell all my best friends right now.
It'll be cool though once the news comes out though. I will say that it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, between that and running rim to rim to rim with Taylor Spike and a bunch of other guys in the sober community in
When are you doing
March,
that?
March 28th,
March.
29th.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And
So we're taking a trip, I think, for spring break for
yeah,
my Mason spring break. I told
nice.
Lindsay, I was like, I kind of would like to run something while we're on a trip. She's like, well, because we don't know where we're going yet.
I plan
But
all my vacations around races, bud.
yeah, I know. I was like, I'd
All
like
my
to run something out there wherever
yeah.
we're going.
Where I'm going in July, we're going away. That's my big summer trip.
I
So
love it.
I'm gonna go out there, crew and race, and then they're gonna meet me out there for a week.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, no, March 20th. The guys I'm going with are killers though. So I'm nervous. Like the times they want to post for this rim to rim to rim, like I'm gonna be I'm gonna have to be a machine. Like
What's
that's
the mileage look like for that?
48 miles
Okay.
and 12 to 15,000 feet. But it's like straight down, straight up, and it's all
Wow.
different. It's hot, it's cold, it's this, that, and the other thing. You got to carry a lot of water, things like that.
Mm,
But I'm gonna
sounds
hike.
fun.
But I'm gonna run rim to rim to rim of the Grand Canyon and get it done probably like 15 to 17 hours.
Sounds like something I'd love to do.
Yeah, I'm in. If I love, I'm gonna start planning my own trip there if I love it. Because Tara's like, I want to go, and I'm like, well, I was invited, so
Yeah. No, dude, that's
unless you
definitely
want to
like
slide in people's DMs and get invited and
no.
go sober,
Yeah. Yeah.
But no,
Um,
I mean these are things that you and I we plan to do, and I think it's not far fetched for us to plan a trip, race,
yeah.
bring the community, and try and plan like an adventure, even if it's not a race. Like, yeah, like say, hey, we're gonna call up a tour guide and we're gonna bring a bunch of people, and it's gonna be sign ups. The guy I followed, Jeff Peltier, the guy that got second place at
Mhm.
Moab,
He's
like
awesome.
every year he does a whole like crew to a different place. They did Patagonia this year. Like he pretty much books travel like excursions for people, and I'm sure that he has everyone else pay their way. But
Yeah.
yeah, like that would be great to say like we're going to do a push through adventure here this year and just try and plan one major excursion every year. That would be awesome, even if it wasn't a race, and great. And rim to rim to rim to rim is fucking let's go.
Yeah. You told me about a race in Wyoming. I think it was Father's Day weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually the guy that Jeremy Miller that we're interviewing tomorrow,
He ran that.
he's from Wyoming. He's done the 50 miler the last 2 years, and his first 100 miler is going to be there this year. That's the Bighorn
100-mile or 100K?
100 miler.
Mm.
So we could talk to him about that because that's where he's from.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dude, he crushed the 52.
Jeez.
The 52 miler, yeah. And I was going to do the 52 miler, but like, yeah, the Father's Day thing, like I always say like, oh, I don't know my parents, like I don't have to worry about Father's Day. And it's like, then I'm like, it's Father's Day. I get to do whatever
Mhm.
the fuck I want. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, really what I want to do is hang out with my kids and be spoiled by them. And, they're going to make me cute little artwork at school. And, they're going to ask me what I want for dinner. And that's at the end of the day, that's really what I want. So
Mhm.
I think I'm going to skip that weekend.
Good deal.
Unless
All
my
right,
kid,
man.
unless my kid starts saying, I hate you, Dad. But I think I got a couple more years for that.
Yeah, probably.
All right, but I'm gonna go edit this, and this is coming out tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
I'm all jacked up.
Let's do it.
All right, buddy. Guys, thank you so much. You can join the Discord. Get in there. Cup of coffee. That's all. Cup of coffee. If not, then just when you see me, buy me a cup of coffee, please. I feel like we always leave them with something weird. What did we leave them with last week? Oh, don't bang your friend's wife or something. Or was that 2 weeks ago?
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago, I think.
There was something weird we said.
I
Somebody commented. They're like, "I'm on the treadmill." And I'm like, "I'm gonna spit out my water." When I heard you don't borrow your friend's shoes and don't borrow your friend's wife. So that's, I guess that's the advice, guys. Don't borrow your friend's shoes and definitely don't borrow your friend's wife. We'll see. We'll see you next time.
Jesus.